So in this video, we're going to talk about isometric exercises for Achilles tendinopathy, the why, the when, and the how. So isometric exercises have become a popular choice for treating tendinopathy since Ebony Rio's 2015 study on patellar tendinopathy, or jumper's knee. So when and how can you perform these exercises for Achilles tendinopathy? Firstly, what's an isometric exercise? Well, an isometric exercise is a contraction of a particular muscle or a group of muscles during which the muscle doesn't noticeably change length and the affected joint doesn't move. So essentially, it's a static contraction. So should you use isometrics for your tendinopathy? Well, if these are going to be effective exercise for you, you need to see a reduction in at least 2 points on a scale out of 10 for a particular task. So this might be hopping. So for example, if you hop and you experience a pain of 7 out of 10 in your Achilles tendon, then you perform some isometrics, retry the hopping, and if you feel a pain less than 5 out of 10, it would be worthwhile adding these into your routine. But by no means does this mean this is an effective exercise for everyone with Achilles issues. And we've previously written before about Seth O'Neil's 2018 study and Clifford's 2020 systematic review, which found a variable response in those with Achilles tendinopathy and isometrics. So some got better and some actually got worse. So what are the different types of isometric exercises you can use for Achilles tendinopathy? We like to use one or a combination of the following 4 exercises. The first option is a standing single leg calf raise with weight. The pros of this exercise is that it's easy to perform. With your body weight already going through that leg, you generally don't need to add too much weight, so 20 to 30 kilos will often suffice, and this can be held or put in a backpack. The cons to this exercise is that it doesn't work the lower calf muscle, the soleus, as well as the other options. The second option is a seated calf raise. So this can either be performed with either a barbell in a rack, as seen in this video here, using a Smith machine, a seated calf raise machine, or using a leg extension machine. The pros of this exercise is that it's better able to isolate the soleus muscle. The cons to it is a reliance on equipment, so barbell and weights or machine weights. It needs to be a heavy weight, so most people will need in excess of 70 to 80 kilos here, and this can be uncomfortable with the weight resting on the knee, so you really need to use a pad as seen in this video, which can help. The third option we have here is a standing bent knee calf raise with weight. The knee must be bent by more than 60 degrees to isolate the soleus. In this case here, we can see it's bent close to 90 degrees. So the pros of this exercise is, again, it's easy to perform at home with only needing an extra 20 to 30 kilos, and it better isolates the soleus versus the straight leg version. The cons to this exercise is that holding the bent knee position can be quite taxing on the quads, so you actually may fatigue here before you feel it in the calves. The fourth option we have here is a Soleus table isometric. So position yourself under a solid table for this one. You'll need to stack some things under your foot to get it to the right height. The correct position to push from here is having the knee over the toes with the foot being just above parallel. Definitely use a cushion here between your knee and the table for comfort, and then push up into the table hard. The pros to this exercise is it doesn't require any fancy equipment, and it does also isolate the soleus muscle. The cons are it's similar to the seated calf raise in that it can be a bit uncomfortable in the knee, so use padding here. You need a heavy table to push up into, otherwise this table will lift up off the ground. So how much weight should you use and how long should you hold this for? Well, it's important that when we perform these isometrics that you make them challenging. So we usually want to see about a 70% of a 1 RM is an ideal weight, and we use our axis system and our force plates to help to determine what that weight is, but it wants to be challenged. It needs to be challenging. Now, how long to hold it for? So you want to hold the isometric contraction for 45 seconds, then having a 60 to 120 second rest and repeating this 5 sets. These can be performed twice daily during a really acute, painful stage of a tendinopathy. It's really important with these isometrics that when you're performing them, that there's no shaking. So if you're holding that contraction and you're shaking when you're doing it, the resistance is too high. So you need to lower that down so that you can maintain a nice steady contraction, because that shaking is actually detrimental to the tendon and can actually aggravate it. So there you have it. There's our tips on isometrics and some exercises that you can be doing. If you need any further assistance with your tendinopathy, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at healthhp.com.au.